All right, and we are live. This is the third casual Sunday conversation we've had. Unfortunately, I wasn't there last week, and Joachim isn't here this week. But we press on, and we're going to discuss a couple of different things that's been going on. And yeah, how's it going your side, Chris?
A few bits and pieces. I'll just move that around a bit. Yeah, pretty good actually. I've got a stack of carpet in the back there, you can see. But
the work never stops.
Yeah, well, I built this place to do some work in, so I keep doing that. But yeah, the world never stops. Goodness me, what a week it's been. So for Orchard and for what news have we got? I guess we've had some disappointing news and some good news as well. They always come in at least pairs. Disappointingly, our application for funding from UK Innovate and the SMART grant that we put in for, which is significant funding, was declined on this occasion. And to be honest, we were sort of expecting that actually. If we're all honest, we kind of predicted that would happen, because we know it's very tough, it's very competitive, and we're a very new organization. But we're going to get feedback that arrives on the 2nd of April, and then we're just going to revamp the whole application from the feedback. And actually, the other thing that is now working in our favor is that our business model and idea is solidifying more and more. So we'll put that back in and go for the grant again in July. Well, actually, the award would be in July, so we just have to have fingers crossed as well. So that's one of our 3 streams for raising money. And then, of course, we're still going to go down the crowdsourcing route and the token sale. So that was the kind of bad news, although not unexpected.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't. I think we knew deep down it was probably likely, because from what we're trying to build and our vision with HCAS and the direction it's going, it's actually changed a hell of a lot. So
yeah, really,
it's great. I mean, we've got a team that we've basically helped us write the grant, and they help you then resubmit it too. So it's far from over, in my opinion.
Yeah,
and we've got plenty ahead, but it's good. I mean, we'll get some feedback and we'll adjust accordingly. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, and we push on.
And exactly, you can't be downhearted, and we thought we were expecting that anyway. So the 3-month strategy that I'm writing at the moment has actually as a starting point the fact that we need to resubmit that grant. So actually, I'm not too fussed at the moment. And if we still get funding in July, then that's well within the timeframes that we're looking at.
I guess on more wider news, which is excitement from everyone within the community, is just seeing the lift in price that we've had.
Oh, that's good news. Yeah.
Finally.
We're heading towards double figures. I mean, I never thought I'd say it, because I was always, I've always wanted to. In fact, I think there was a time where I had only ever bought Elastos in double figures. But I think I've managed to pick up a few in single figures. But nevertheless, it won't take long. And I think, once we break a couple of levels, one being sort of I think the $9 and the $10 mark are really important to us. What are your thoughts on what we need to break to really kind of drive that accelerated?
But $5 was the number. $5. For years we've been below this number, just trying to get close, getting pushed down.
Complete resistance, yeah.
And we exploded past it, and you saw what happened when we broke it. Just there was no real overhead resistance. Flew up. And bearing in mind, 4 weeks ago we went down to around $3, and now the high that we hit was $9.20 or so. So we really have flown in the last 4 weeks in particular, but in the last weeks really gone high.
What are we now? It's back down just below 7 at the moment, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And it's fine. It needs to consolidate, and then it's going to push higher. And this is it. We've got
that level now acting as support now at around the kind of 680 almost. Yeah, I kind of guessed that mark.
I think so, yeah. But I mean, well done to all the ELA holders who have got this far.
Yeah.
sticking with a project which you believe in. I mean, it's been a hell of a road, and I think we can say, I mean, it's not obviously in set in stone, but we can say that we're now moving in the right direction, and we're seeing, you know, we've got the Wizard on Twitter with his 100,000 followers
and the
talking
chairman
about Elastos, and that's yet to be seen, but certainly he's got followers. He's following Elastos, which is really great, and he's got just under 1 million followers. So I think Australia was the one to point out that, you know, hang on a sec, the chairman is following Elastos. Go look at his followers, and he's not following any other projects, crypto-wise, no other project. So something's brewing there. At least we're speculating. But yeah, we've blown up, and you know, someone like the Wizard with his 100,000 followers talking about Elastos has brought in a whole new load of ELA holders, who some will learn about the project as a result of holding the coin. Most of them probably entered for financial reasons, but now they're actually going to learn about the technology behind it. And we're seeing all these new people on Twitter talking about Elastos, and honestly, even the community chats are just like a lot busier.
Well, a lot of new people asking really what questions we used to regard as, you know, well, that's a basic question, but of course there's a whole load of new people in who need to learn about this stuff. So actually, you know, we as community members can do a great service by just getting in there and chatting and pointing out where the wallets are and how to find information and, you know, what it's all about. And I've noticed a real pickup in that, actually. And I think, you know, our community has to be commended for being so welcoming, actually. And it's a really good place. I think we've got a lot to be proud of there, actually. But new blood in there is good.
Yeah, there's been some real some, you know, tweets talking about how great the community is, and stand by that 100%. You know, I think we really got squeezed in the last couple of years down to the few believers, and I think that's created such a special community. And actually, when ELA blew past $5 and it just exploded, being in the community chats and celebrating with everyone, it was just felt so fun and so good. And you know, here we are, we've all done this, we've got to this point, and we're gonna you know, enjoy it together. And this is only the start.
Remind us of the tokenomics that make this such a special project now. I mean, you know, we've been involved in it for a while, but you know, why would you buy Elastos versus anything else at the moment?
Well, yeah, a lot of projects, if you look at their circulating supply, have huge amounts uncirculating. So you could almost look at it like a central bank. It's not realized money yet that's going to be printed and put into the circulating supply. So it will devalue the currency as it goes. The Elastos has been, you know, pushed down for the last couple of years to the extent where it's made decisions such as burning. You know, we burned a hell of a lot of ELA. It was around, I can't actually remember on the top of my head, but it was, what was it? It's a significant
13 million.
You have to get that. But yeah, we burnt a significant amount, and then of uncirculating supply with the CRC. And then we've also got 28 million. We turned it deflationary. So there was 1.32 million inflation per year forever. That was the original rules. Now, as the Cyber Republic Council, our DAO, we decided together that we're going to turn ELA completely deflationary, meaning that there's going to be halvenings every 4 years. The first one's going to be in December. Currently, the issuance of inflation is 5%, 6%. And we're going to be dropping that down to 5% later this year, in a couple months even. And then finally, we will basically only have 28.2 million ELA by 2105. So, you know, that's a scarcity. It's limited.
Scarcity,
increasing demand. So the more that people start using the smart web, the more that the applications get built, the more demand comes online, the more scarce ELA becomes, and it will just continue to rise as a result. So it's very favorable, the tokenomics as a whole, and very exciting.
Well, I think and certainly people new to crypto don't often look at all of the, you know, the market cap and the number of tokens there, but you know, and like buying into projects that are quite low priced because they think I'll have 1 million of those or 1,000 tokens as opposed to one. But I think in that regard, Elastos is quite well positioned in that it's still relatively low price. I mean, it's a ridiculously low price actually when you think of the technology that's been built on it and the limited supply. But but now's the time to get in, I think, because it's a fantastic opportunity for anybody in the world now to own an Elastos, an ELA.
Well, I think what you have to look at coin, it's a coin as well. So it's the overarching currency or token for the whole network. So anything built under it, Elastos ELA will be king at the end of the day, or queen. Yeah. And really, when you look at ELA, and like all these networks, whilst you're owning a portion of it, what you're really owning is a percentage of the network. So yeah. How much of the Elastos do you want to own? And dependent on how much ELA you hold, there's only 28.2 million total that there will ever be. That's the percentage of the network that you will own of Elastos. And I believe full-heartedly that Elastos is going to grow. It's going to get bigger and bigger, and the network effect is going to get stronger. The architecture is very special and unique in itself, which is a whole conversation. But actually, owning a share of the network is, it's only going to compound and get better.
So let me ask you about the 2820 club then.
Yeah, okay. So there's in the community, there's the 2820, 2822 club, which is about owning 2,822 tokens, because that then means only 10,000 people in the world can own that amount if there's 28. Theoretically, yeah. And which we know there's people who hold far more. So it's not really possible even that. But
and some will be lost, like Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, just small amounts of ELAs. I always think, when you send a transaction, you still have a little bit of ELA that might be left in your wallet and you forget about it. But I'm sure over time that must add up to quite a significant amount in everyone's wallets. But yeah, so the 2822 club is one that's been started in the community, and yeah, people strive to own that amount of ELA because, if you, with a population of 7+ billion, and you can only be 1 in 10,000, and we're talking about a new internet which is going to grow, that's a huge amount to hold. Decades, I'm sure,
or multiples of it. So the first target should be 28.2, and then 282, and then 28, 2,822. And I think that's a great target, because in my view, if you own 2,822 and were prepared to hold, a bit like Bitcoin, probably for 3 or 4 years, I would say, I don't know, I got a sense that will be enough. That would be really good.
I think so. And what the problem is that I still tether myself to ELA being like $1.60. So when we talk about 2,000 and this amount, it's like, okay, it's about $5,000 or so, which is a lot of money, but it seems manageable. But today, as the price is, and this is the idea of being in a deflationary currency, that as it gets higher and it goes more expensive, it's going to be harder and harder to be a part of such a...
I've just done some basic maths. So on $7 to own 2,822 would cost you nearly $20,000. So it's going to be beyond a lot of people's reach already, because they missed the boat the first time around, or when it was so low. But yeah, significant. But just put a 0 on that 7, which is still below the all-time high. So let's say they were to cost $70 an ELA, which I think is entirely feasible. That would be nearly $200,000 to just get to become part of the 2822 club. Amazing. We did have some other good news actually this week, which is that I applied for membership of something called Heropreneurs, which is a charity in the UK, which is set up to help ex-service people set up businesses. So what they offer is free mentorship for a year. And they've got some amazing mentors from across all different industries with an amazing network. And our project, Sash, has been accepted. So we are now in that great little franchise and in that support network. And what we have to do next week is look through all of the different mentors that there are and choose the best one for this next portion of our journey. So, I think we're going to be looking for someone that has done potentially some form of token sale and crowdfunding, and really, that pre-seed to initial funding round, and then growing a tech startup. And then what we can do, which you're allowed to do, is then swap out one mentor for another mentor as you go and you develop on a little bit. But, that's a really exciting move for us, because our team for Orchard is growing really nicely, and we've got some great people in it. And so with that formal mentorship now coming online, which won't cost us anything, and we're going to be given that wonderful experience and time, then that's just going to help us over the next few months really propel this forward.
I think it's fantastic, and it's the more people we talk to and the more minds that we engage with, it's just amazing how they open up these new networks. And this is a great initiative, Chris, and I imagine we're going to learn so much from it and meet some more people, and it will take us in another direction, which is what it's got to be all about, connecting individuals.
Well, the other thing that we did this week, which I don't think we should talk too much about, Sash, but it's down to you really as a congratulations, but we got in touch with a graphic designer called Ben, and threw some ideas at him. We had a really good video call with him, and he's been working really hard this week to come up with some designs, logo, icon, colors, and everything else for our new business. And when he briefed it on Friday afternoon, I was overjoyed. I thought that was fantastic. What he's come up with is great. I'm so excited to be able to create our future website and our brand. I can't wait to show it to the community. It's going to be brilliant.
I know. Ben's brilliant. I've known him probably for about 10 years now. And back in the day, he was doing, for our music, when I was studying music production to then going into film, he would just do mock-ups. I created everything from a band back in university. He did our designs then to then doing I had ICO, which was an ICO directory in 2017 for ICO. He did all the branding for that. And then to now him getting in touch. But obviously he's just been progressing. He's doing work now directly for Apple. It's quite amazing, like his portfolio, and he's just the right guy to jump on board. And I think when you know people that you trust and you've worked with prior and you get them involved, it's also more exciting. And he's been messaging saying, this is the best logo design I feel like I've ever done. I'm so excited. And we hopefully will get Ben more involved as time goes on. But, it's just that visual aspect of the starting blocks.
So important.
But it's been all round really good. Seeing Feng today, he's been tweeting about Creda and FilDA, and he's talking about April and
something going on in April.
Something's playing out, and
definitely.
And it's brilliant. So he's released some articles recently, and I think the whole idea of what he talks about is really spot on. I mean, he's talking about self-sovereign identity, the ability to build your own data, almost treasure chests, so you can own your own data, but you can build data around yourself, and then being able to leverage that to take out credit. And in his recent article, he notes Ant Financial, who basically were the first to innovate and to bring this idea of leveraging data instead of something like your house or collateral that you'd use otherwise. He's saying Ant Financial were the first to actually say, okay, within Alibaba, you create all this data, and now we're going to allow you to take loans out based on your data and how much credit we believe you have. The problem is that it's not overly efficient when you have one big entity that's just bloating up and having all this control. So his idea is to take the similar model, give DIDs to everyone, allow them to build their own data treasure troves, and then leverage credit, which will be on FilDA. So we'll have a credit oracle, which will provide off-chain data and provide it to the blockchain, which will have a really important aspect to play in all of this. And then the ability for people to go onto DeFi, which will be FilDA, and to actually take loans out. I think this is a really pivotal point, and it really is where we're going, where we do have complete ownership of our own data. We have our own DIDs, but then we're held accountable by governments and how we log and track, what we're doing and how we're taking. And I think this is the right direction we're moving in. And if we were to go even deeper and we look at, global superpowers and the cycles that are playing out, I'd almost argue that the reason China will probably, or Asia will kind of rise and push above as the years go on from a macro perspective is most likely because they can implement this kind of stuff at such a quick and global scale. You're seeing they already have the digital yuan, and they're just pushing forward in new technologies. And the real future, and especially when you look at it from a governmental side, it's about AI, robotics, automation, and things like blockchain technology and implementing this into society. So I think there's got to be a real push from the West to actually start integrating this too. And potentially with Orchard and with Team Tech and everything that's going on in Elastos, Feng's opening up the credit oracle and the doors to enable this, and it's something which could also become global.
I think, yeah, you raised some really interesting points there. I mean, well done to Feng. He's one of my heroes, actually. He's always getting out and about there and taking some great photos. I'm never quite sure what he's actually, what actually will come of them, but nevertheless, what a network he's got. And I think, I keep thinking back to that photo of, I think it was Union Pay, wasn't it? He was photographed with recently. And, if something came off there, that would be amazing. But the idea of this, credit oracle and leveraging your own data is great. I mean, I think it is going to, as you say, become a bit of a pivotal point, and I can see the macro changes that will occur because of it. Because there's definitely truth in the fact that if you inject money into an economy, it spurs growth. The problem with that is that in the past, with quantitative easing and the like, it's just printed, so it's not backed by anything. It's just, and therefore it's inflationary. We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
But if you can inject money into economy because it's borrowed off something, whether it be a house or your data or your own potential, then actually it is backed by something. It's backed by you in this case, and your future potential or earning power. And so if China could move really quickly to be allowing its citizens to create more liquidity in their economy, actually you could see them, the whole thing being promoted and exploding faster than other economies without the inflation that you will get in some others, which is going to be quite an interesting scenario. But I think what's brought us to this space is just an open-minded interest in all of these ideas. So I'm not backing any particular horse. I'm just interested in looking at how it's all going to grow. But I'd very much like my FilDA to do something in April. That would be good. Because that's been on a southern journey from the moment I started investing, or actually getting some FilDA through yield farming.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I mean, FilDA is very inflationary. So I think when the times are tough, it's even worse. Everything compounds. But when they get good, it's the other way around, because when everything's going upwards, and I think you get these DeFi cycles where you get this big upward DeFi kind of movement, and as the whole space goes, and then you get the downturn when Bitcoin corrects and everything drops. But actually, when it's all going up, everyone's just compounding their FilDA earnings back into the system. They're taking out loans and they're adding that in, and it's all just basically locking FilDA up, or the token itself. When it gets bad, everyone's paying off their loans, and and all this inflation's coming into the system, which they're then selling into USD or needing to then pay off, and it all drops really heavy. So yeah, the last month and a half, I'd say, has been really bad for the actual price action of FilDA. But I also think with DeFi as a whole, it's not been great, and I think we're going to see it start to tick upwards soon as the next kind of wave corrects and
that confidence comes back in.
Yeah, but there's been quite a lot of Elastos supporters that have been caught in this, because when you're in an LP, you have to have 50-50 as far as 50. If you're in an ELA FilDA LP, you have to have 50% value that has to be the same 50-50. And then if the FilDA price goes down, it means you're going to basically lose ELA and get more FilDA to try and retain the value. And because FilDA's gone down so much, I think a lot of holders have lost a lot of ELA.
Well, and Elastos has gone up simultaneously.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just doubled it up, and it's a real shame. But I think it will turn around, and
I'm kind of in that boat, but actually I'm just holding it at the moment. So the liquidity pool will just sit there. I'm hoping desperately that Elastos keeps going up, obviously. But if I'm earning some FilDA on the side because of it, then I think I'm just going to hold that, and I think there's a good future for FilDA actually.
Massive. It's got a.
We're so early. What are we, like 13 weeks old or something?
Yeah, 3 months, and it's a 10 million market cap, and we're talking about building a decentralized bank that's probably going to pass $1 billion market cap, given that it continues and they keep building, and Creda comes to fruition, and everything goes to plan. So it's, I'm super bullish on FilDA long term, and then Elastos obviously has been a 3-year plus journey. See it now starting to open and explode, which I think the journey is just going to keep going, and it will get stronger and stronger.
Yeah, I think this year is going to be good for Elastos actually in so many different ways. Well, one of them might be Profile as well. So what news of Profile? I know that I got an email from them on Friday.
Yeah, Profile's come out as far as an alpha version. So if you head over to profile.site, you can apply to get basically an early list. Well, you can try out the platform early, and it's essentially going through and just testing everything and letting the developers know what they think, as far as what we think and any bugs or issues. But yeah, I've managed to get on it, and it's great. I mean, when we talk about DIDs, it all starts with identity, and you can just see how this very minimalistic platform right now is going to grow into something really, really special. And the purpose of it is to almost be like a decentralized LinkedIn. You have your DID, you control it, it's a self-sovereign identity, and then you can get third-party validators to validate your credentials, and you can basically get ticks on your DID to say that you are who you are. And that's got to be where it all starts, right? And the whole point of using blockchains and transacting with each other has to come in actually trusting we are who we say we are. And from that we will open up this new world. And yeah, it's looking great. It's very slick, it's very clean, and you can just see that it's going to get better and better. So yeah, profile.site, if you want to give it a test, just head over and you can basically apply to get a code and to try.
I mean, it's important to reinforce the fact that we've had a few chats with Donny, and he's always made the point that this is an alpha site. This isn't the finished version. And when you're going on there, the reason they've just started to allow people in is so that we can help them build it and iterate and innovate and make sure that it works. So if you're expecting a completely finished version of a decentralized LinkedIn, you won't find it yet. But what you will find, and what you can contribute to, is this great process of growth within the Tomb project. But yeah, I agree. I think it's self-sovereign identity and being able to validate who you are, and attach your credentials to the data that you're creating. Is truly valuable, and that's what Wrong has been saying for many years, and people are just sort of catching up with that. But I think 2021, more than NFTs actually, which I think is a little bit of a flash in the pan, I think it's going to be about self-sovereign identity. And what we're going to do is play on that, riff on that slightly, and build in sort of reputation scores as well, because alongside your self-sovereign identity, you should be able to have to build up your own trust, your own reputation treasury, as well as your own data treasury. And I think that's going to take society in a completely different way, when you can genuinely trust the experience or the intellect of a third party that you might not otherwise see. It's going to offer some really interesting economic opportunities, I think.
I think so, yeah. I mean, the purpose of DIDs at least is to provide one universal login. And right now we have just so many spread across the internet, all these web applications who hold it, and we don't remember our passwords for all of them. It's all jumbled, and it just causes this kind of mesh of confusion, but also that we don't own the data, and it's being tracked and recorded by these middlemen. But actually, just the most simplistic thing of giving everyone a digital identity today, and you can get it on Profile, and you just are at the starting blocks, and it's going to start being built out as time goes on. That is your universal identity, and you'll be able to take that same identity and use it to log into other platforms which are on the Web3, and you'll be able to use it, but that everything is coming to you. And what I love about Profile is that you can choose, and at the moment it's set to go to Tomb Tech, but you can ultimately choose where you want to send your data, and you can change it any time and store it where you want. So you could have a hard drive device at home, or you choose a server, or you can go to Tomb Tech, but ultimately you could go to Filecoin, and you can direct your data how you want it to be stored, and that's pretty big as well.
Oh, it's great. And the fact that Tomb are representing Elastos in the World Economic Forum is still extraordinary, I think. And the WF have recently produced a couple of papers around sovereign identity and and data. And it's just great to know that Donny and others have been influencing that and being part of that discussion. I mean, that's fantastic to be right at the heart of that sort of international and linked intellectual thought. You know, the WEF think tank on that is just great.
Yeah. They've got a they're updating all the websites, so we've gotten sneak peeks there, and it just looks so much better. Oh,
yeah, it does. It really does.
Invited. We need it because the Elastos Foundation website is just so outdated and just crap.
Yeah.
The sneak peeks we've been seeing look perfect, and it's exactly what we need. And I think for a lot of newcomers that find Elastos, the first thing they do is go to elastos.org, and they're presented something that is just outdated and just looks mad. So this is a huge thing. I just think this year is the year for Elastos. We're going to see so much growth in the coming months, and this is the bull market now in full swing, and I think it's going to overextend past people's expectations, because this is the first time which we're seeing a monetary crisis unfold, where money is just getting printed and manipulated to high heaven, and it's almost like a blow off top from an outdated system right now that's coming into play. And it's going to be, we're going to see bonds are going to do terrible, because you're going to be holding something which is ultimately the value of the money that you're being paid in, which is fixed, is going to be losing value. Stocks are going to do well, but still not great in comparison to, I believe, assets such as gold and crypto. And I think Bitcoin and then altcoins below it, which have more upside because they're just the smaller caps, they are the ultimate holy grail of trading, I think, in the next couple of years, because Bitcoin is the all-in-one trade. It's liquid. You can get into it easily. It's gold 2.0, and I think it's just going to continue to rise as time goes on. And then altcoins with all the technology below it are just going to come with it. And governments are going to essentially print themselves into scarce assets like Elastos. People, money, all this money that's getting generated and manipulated is going to go somewhere, and a lot of it's going to end up coming into the crypto space, and it's going to see these prices just continue to rise. And then when they rise, people like the Cyber Republic, the groups that can then spend and fund more development, and someone like the foundation who hold Bitcoin, they can just do more. It just lifts the whole place up. So it's so positive for going in the right direction and using new technologies which will create a better future.
Well, for those people that understand inflationary versus deflationary economics, I think when they move their increasingly devalued fiat currency into those projects like Bitcoin and Elastos, they're hedging against that inflation in the future. So, they will do well. And so I think you're right. I think this is going to be an extraordinary place for a couple of years. And alongside that sort of monetary problem that you've discussed, I think we've also got a sort of democracy and constitutional problem as well, about how we continue with our citizen representation, which is the subject of our webinar on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
So we've got a brilliant lineup. George, our advisor, who wrote the Cyber Republic book all about AI in the age of intelligent machines. We've got Andrew, one of our advisors, who former head of IBM in Europe. You're on the panel, Sash, and we've got two wonderfully bright and influential ladies, Gillian and Genevieve, both blockchain experts, and Dr. Vijak as well from South Bank University, and he set up his own company called Syndicat. So Vijak Hadidi. So we've got a really interesting team of people that we're going to have a good conversation. The topic is called Can Blockchain Save Democracy? It's on Tuesday evening, Tuesday the 30th, 5 o'clock British summertime until 6:15, I think, something like that. And I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be really, really good conversation.
It's great. I mean, we've got an hour and a half roughly to have this talk, which I think with all the bright minds that are joining, is it going to be enough? But I think there's going to be so much to take away from it. Yeah. And we'll leave the event.
Have to do another one. We'll see if anyone watches it and they like it. We just have to do another one.
But I'll leave the Eventbrite link in the description below.
Perfect.
So connect there. And yeah, it's going to be good fun. I mean, as you say, some really, really bright minds, and I think I'm going to learn a hell of a lot from them. And
yeah, I think we all are.
Actually, great topic.
Sash, I've got one last question for you.
Okay.
Before we sign off, but would you buy a Tesla with Bitcoin?
Yeah, definitely, but maybe not today because I know it's got more upside.
Yeah, there's more upside. Yeah, because Elon Musk announced last week that he was now going to, or Tesla were now going to allow the purchasing of new cars with Bitcoin. But I was just thinking, if I had a lot of Bitcoin to throw around the place, I don't think I'd be wasting it. I mean, I don't think I'd be buying a car with it, because I wouldn't want to be pizza guy. I wouldn't want to think that my car that's parked in the garage in 5 years' time it would be worth, I don't know, potentially $1 million. Had I left it in the BTC. But anyway.
Well, I think Tesla as well have said that the Bitcoin that they get paid with, they're not going to sell it.
That's right. Yeah.
So they know what's going on here as well. But
there's all sorts of rumors about the fact that they're also building a power station next to their main plant too. So, and that's really focused on solar energy. So, trying to run their own sort of Bitcoin mining facility and provide that very cheap electricity for the production of their cars. I mean, there's something brewing down there as well. But yeah. I mean, well, one day I would love to own one. That would be great, but it'll take a little while yet.
I think the ball's dropping, isn't it? As far as from a bigger institutional level, you're seeing more and more entrants, kind of people coming in, and they'll be accumulating slowly. And where we're looking as if, waiting for Bitcoin to do this kind of big pullback drop, it's almost like it's being held up by something behind the scenes. And looking at graphs of exchanges, they're seeing Bitcoin just leaving exchanges.
Yeah.
Like Michael Saylor said, he's holding his Bitcoin, which is, it's 30,000 plus Bitcoin, but he's holding them for over 100 years. I think the big institutions aren't interested in trading or playing the game of, in and out Bitcoins. They're buying it and sending it to a wallet address, which is going to just sit there for a period of time. And you're just seeing the supply dropping. So it'll be very interesting to see how the next coming months play out. But I think, all volatility and anything that goes on, it's going to rebound very fast, I think.
Well, just think how much money they'll be saving by storing it in a cold wallet and not a cold vault where they'd have to put all the gold or the cash and security guards and worry about the transfer. If you are going to save some money like that, or something of value like that, it's extraordinarily cheap to do it with it in the world of crypto. Backed by maths. Yeah,
and pretty secure as well.
Yeah.
It's not a bad spot to be in. But I think, we will see many more announcements throughout this year of other institutions who have bought in. I'm just waiting for Apple.
Countries.
And countries. I think that'll be the next order of magnitude. You'll see institutions jumping in, and then countries will have to start jumping in. But anyone that adopts it today, and this is the idea of the train never stops. The earlier you get on, it's a deflationary currency. It's gonna go up in value, and you should see value grow from it. But Tesla doing what they did is just another indicator that you're going to start being able to use Bitcoin to actually buy things. And I think it's the whole idea of you hold Bitcoin until you can start spending it. You don't hold it to then sell it out for a profit, because ultimately Bitcoin will become a globally accepted currency, and you'll see all these kind of tier 2 companies offering services using Bitcoin, and it's just going to grow. Then ELA is going to come into play, and we're going to have Web 2 apps. We're going to have all these other possibilities, and it's just the whole space is just looking great right now.
Yeah, it's an exciting place to be. Well, I'm very pleased we're in it, and we're able to dedicate our time to it increasingly. And what an extraordinary year! I can't wait to be able to look back on it from the November, December time and see exactly what we've been able to achieve. What Elastos has been able to achieve, and mostly through building networks and community, and that's one of the reasons we're having these chats and trying to promote and encourage the communities that we're part of, and say thank you a lot of the time as well.
No, it's been such a journey, and it's just getting started. But to share it with the community and to be at this stage, it just felt really good. I think a lot of the bear market, when you see people that are in the community drop off and they leave, you kind of feel sadness because you think this is going to turn around, guys. Like, you just have to be patient. You just have to hold, wait, just wait, and you want to have everyone together on the journey. And I'd say about 80% of the core believers are with us now, still with us. We're moving up together, and I think that's where it's just so much fun. We've gone through a lot of hardship. I like to look at the bear market as almost like a strength training exercise where you're just pushing yourself, and how far can you take the pain? You stick with it, and then you come out the other end stronger. And if you can survive a crypto bear market, which is almost an asset that's as volatile as oil, if you can survive the bear market, you can survive anything, and it strengthens you. So
I think it really does strengthen you, both as an individual and some of your, and also a basic learning about the mistakes that are so obviously there and in hindsight appear so obvious, but also institutionally or organizationally, I think there's some training in there as well. And your point about Elastos going through the ringer over the past couple of years, I think is true. But because of that, because of the pressures that we've had to deal with, I think it's looking much healthier now than it would have done had we not been through that and not had to make some of those really difficult decisions.
Definitely. Yeah, there was some really good info on that. And this is where we talk about macro cycles, where, Asia and America, during the 50s, America was absolutely booming. It was this prime time, and Asia and China in particular was really in poverty and struggling. But it was through that poverty that they've kind of made corrections, and they've taken themselves to where today they are just going on the upside now. And we're almost seeing a breakdown of the global reserve currency with the US dollar, and you might see a complete shift of empires as a result. But through hardship, you make changes and then you prosper. And I'd like think that Elastos in the last couple of years, we haven't paid for marketing, we haven't paid for market makers and paid all these tricks and gizmos which others have, but what we have done is really internally analyzed ourselves and said, what do we need to fix? And we looking at our currency turning it deflationary and burning a load of tokens, and we've just worked our way to a point where I think now we've set ourselves up well. But there's not to say there's things that we can be fixing, because we don't market still today. And how powerful would it be if there was a global brand image which people recognize for Elastos, and like your charity proposal, there's all these things we can do to make it better, but nonetheless we have at least analyzed and made decisions, which has been good for us.
Yeah, I think so. Well, you got to take steps forward, and occasionally there'll be setbacks, a bit like our grant application, but you just got to get back on the horse and go again, haven't you? So I think that's where we are as an organization, and that's where I feel we are as Orchard and our new project as well.
We could be sitting here as a coal company, Chris, talking about how things aren't looking too good, or we need
a plastic bag company or something.
Yeah, exactly. I think we're in the right area, and
we are in the right place.
You have these steps back, but you just keep pushing forward, and it's only going to see more innovation and things come through. So
are they setbacks or just learning opportunities? That's what I like.
Yeah.
But, okay, Sunday evening, I've got a Dorset apple cake to make now, so I better go.
Very nice. Okay, awesome. We'll have a great rest of your day, and to the community, congratulations for everyone who's still with us and still going. And just like and subscribe, and we'll leave a link to Profile to check out to get a testing link for the alpha version. We'll leave a link for our event, which is this Tuesday as well. So do join us. I think that'll be really, really good. And then Sash, I'll see you tomorrow morning for our Monday morning planning session. Sounds great. Great. Have a good one. See you later. See you later. Bye, Sash. Bye.